learners, we are working on the last 4 links from Objective 4 in rational number arithmetic. So a few problems to look at here. Examples. We are trying to figure out where, if anywhere, they went wrong in solving this. Okay? So the first thing that we should see here are 2 negatives, which turn into a positive. So we should have -3 plus 5 plus 4. So step 1 looks good. And then it looks like they combined 4 and 5 to get 9. So brought down the -3, and that was 9. And then they're unlike, so we subtract. 9 minus 3 is 6. Keep the sign of the bigger number. 9 is bigger, it's positive. So it'd be a positive 6. So it looks like they did everything correct there. So I would say Amber did not make a mistake. Good job, Amber. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Let's see, we'll get another problem. Okay, which of the following expressions are equivalent to this? Okay, first thing we notice, we have a -5.93, a positive 5.93. Again, that's called a zero pair, same number, opposite signs. So they're gonna actually turn into 0. They're gonna cancel. So all we're left with is -8.62. So that would be the same as A. But let's check the other ones to see if any others would simplify to the same thing. Okay, here they have parentheses around these two. So what that means, this negative out front has to be distributed to both of these numbers. So that turns into -5.93 minus 8.62 plus 5.93. How did I get the plus? Because right here we have the -5.93 and the negative out front are 2 negatives, which make a positive. So actually, this one is also equal to what we have up there, because we have a positive 5.93, a negative 5.93, and then a negative 8.62. So what I should do is put a plus and then put parentheses around that negative there to see that it is exactly the same as that one. Okay, now here, so it is A and B so far. On C, they have a negative in front of parentheses again, which has to be distributed to both of those numbers. So -1 times a positive 5.93, positive and a negative is a negative. That becomes -5.93. A negative, this is really a -1 out front times a positive 8.62 becomes a -8.62. And then we have the 5.93 on the end. So that also matches what's up there. So actually A, B, and C so far all match. Okay, and D says choose 4 answers. So we are going to have 4 that actually work here. So D, we have a -5.93, just like up there. We have a -8.62. We could change it to a plus, put the negative in parentheses, and it would be the same as that. 2 negatives on the end make a positive, so that becomes a positive 5.93. So actually D also matches what we have up here. Let's check E just to make sure we didn't do anything wrong. If we distribute this negative, we have -5.93. -1 times a positive 8.62 gives us -8.62. And then a negative times a positive 5.93 gives us another -5.93. Okay, that one should have been positive, but when we distribute, we get a negative, so that one does not match. So it would not be E. It would be just all the rest of them. So A, B, C, D. All right, next link. Which of the following expressions are equivalent to this? When you add 0, that's adding nothing. So those go away. We just end up with x plus y. So the first one would work. This is exactly like what we have up there. Just no parentheses around the first set, but when you add, those parentheses aren't going to make a difference. Oh, they move the parentheses to the second set, but those zeros will still go away, and you just end up with x plus y. So B also works, so it'd be A and B. Which equations are true? If you have a negative x plus x, that could be any number, like negative 2 plus 2 plus 0. You have the same number, opposite signs, that equals 0. That's a 0 pair. Again, we've talked about that. So if you would have, if x was still 2, negative 2 equal to 0, because that's 0 and that's 0, that is not true. So A would not be true. Let's just stick with x being 2. If we have negative 2 here equal to 0 plus negative 2, 0 plus negative 2 is just going to be negative 2. Negative 2 equal to negative 2. Yes, that is true. So B would be correct. Okay, we have to complete the inequality. We're going to approximate for C. It's a little bit past negative 1. We're going to say it's negative 1.2. Okay, if C is negative 1.2, negative 1.2 plus 2 is something to 1. Well, let's figure out what that is. They're unlike, so we would subtract bigger number on top, subtract, we borrow. We get 0.8, keep the sign of the bigger number, which is negative. So, oh no, sorry, it's positive because 2 is bigger than 1.2 and it's positive. So a positive 0.8, would that be greater than, less than, or equal to 1? 0.8 is less than 1. So we would do less than. Okay, again, here we have numbers for these letters. This would be a 1. It's between 0 and 2. Be 1. So we need to put them in order from least, greatest, and closest to 0. Okay? So Q minus N would be 1 minus negative 2. We have 2 negatives here, which make a positive. That turns into 1 plus 2, which is 3. So Q minus N is 3. N minus Q would be negative 2 minus 1, which we'll write as negative 2 plus a negative 1. Now we can see they're like, so we add them, keep the original sign. That's going to be a negative 3. And then just Q is 1. Okay, so this would be the greatest 3. The least would be negative 3. And the closest to 0 would be 1. Because that's only 1 away. Those are both 3 away from 0. So we need to move the top one down. Q minus N needs to be greatest, then N minus Q is the least, and Q is closest to 0. Awesome. And the last link for this, we need to solve for M. We need to get M by itself. Okay, so we have negative 11/6 plus M. To get rid of that negative 11/6, we would need to add 11/6. Since it's negative, we do the opposite. We add 11/6. and that's going to be 0. That's a 0 pair, again, adds up to 0. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So we add 11 6. So now we have m equals negative 2/9 plus 11 6. All right, now we need a common denominator. What is the least common multiple between 9 and 6? Well, that is going to be 18, actually. So 9 times 2 is 18. So then we do 2 times 2. If you didn't know what the greatest common or the common denominator was, or the least common multiple, we could start listing multiples. Go 9, 18, 27, and over here we go 6, 12, 18, 24. We can see the first number that's the same is 18. So that's how we know that's going to be our denominator. So we multiply by 9 by 2 to get 18. We do the same thing on the top we did on the bottom. Multiply by 2, which is 4. 6 times 3 is 18. We multiply by the same thing on the top. We get 33. We can see they're unlike, negative and positive. So we subtract 33 minus 4 is 29. Denominator stays the same. Keep the sign of the bigger number. 33 is bigger, it's positive. So our answer stays positive. So we have 29/18 for our answer there. Okay, again, we want to get h by itself. Let's simplify these negatives right here first. That's h plus 2.22 equals negative 7.851. All right, to get rid of that number, it's positive, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to subtract 2.22. That leaves h by itself. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. You have to be fair with the equations. Okay, those are like, they're both negative, so we're going to add them. 7.851 plus 2.22. Since there's nothing there, we put in a 0. Add those. We get 10.071. We have to make sure we keep the original sign. They're like, we add, keep the original sign, so it's going to be a negative 10.071. for our answer. I forgot the negative. Put in our negative. Okay, don't forget your negative. Watch your signs really carefully, otherwise you're gonna get it wrong, and that's really a bummer. All right, thanks.